to another Women in Business interview. This is a series where I interview different HHL alumni about their professional journeys since leaving HHL. Today I'm here with Binh, and she is going to tell us about her story and her work in the VC industry. Hello, and thank you so much for joining us here today.
Hi, Alexandra. Thank you for having me today.
I'm excited to get right into your story and learn about your work. For anyone not so familiar with venture capital, could you tell us a bit more about what your job is as venture capital analyst? I know you work at Brandenburg Kapital, and you work a lot with startups in the general entrepreneurial ecosystem. So give us a little bit of an idea of what your work entails.
Well, yeah, I'm working as a venture capital analyst at Brandenburg Kapital. And Brandenburg Kapital has been an active VC investor for more than 25 years. We invest in companies in seed and growth stages, and we focus on three sectors: life science, information and communication technologies, and industry applications. And we are not only a financial investor, but we are a sparring partner for founders, and we support them with our entrepreneurial know-how. I am more involved in industry applications, which is quite broad, from food tech to agri-tech to e-mobility, new materials, renewable energies, and industry 4.0.
I know you told me before we started the interview that this was a job that you were really looking forward to because it was in an industry that you had always wanted to work in. And given that this is a series specifically focusing on women in business, I wonder where you would see let's say, an improvement or maybe a general advantage if there were more diversity in the VC industry, because this is something you'd mentioned. There's not as much diversity concerning men and women. So where would you see, could the industry profit from this diversity in like maybe more female founders, more female VCs?
Mm-hmm. Your VC industry is still male dominant, and this should be changed for two reasons. Firstly, diversity improves the quality of investment decisions, because business always starts with customers, and VC investors invest in companies that offer innovative products or services. And an innovation is defined as an idea that is transformed into practical reality. And this practical aspect is very important because innovation needs to solve real problems of the customers. It is not only new, but also useful. And a diverse team means having people from different gender and different backgrounds. And a team with more diversity can understand better different groups of customers and can answer the question if the value proposition of the product is meaningful and if someone is willing to pay for it. So I believe that a diverse team can deliver a higher investment performance. And the second reason is the signal effect. It is very important when we talk about the deal flow. And female role models are very important for female founders to overcome the challenges in networking. If we have more women in VC and more women in the startup ecosystem, then women are encouraged to reach out and to seek VC funding. And as a result, VC industry will have more investment opportunities.
I remember you told me something very interesting before we started the interview about how decisions are made and who the decision maker often is in households, etc. This is nothing we can generalize, but I wonder if you could go a bit into detail about why sometimes it can be extremely interesting to have the female perspective in a company because of thinking of the decision makers concerning certain industries and products.
Mhm. Yeah, it's something new that I learned during the program. I think that was the best mind-blowing moment that I had. It was an event hosted by women at HHR, and the topic was female talents in private equity. And the speaker was a female CEO of an European private equity firm. And she raised the question about why there are so few women holding managing position in general, and there are so few women in investment team in private equity. And she believed that women can bring good insights to the investment decision because women influence almost every purchase within the household, from food and beverage to vacation, education, and even real estate. So I was so impressed by her commitment to the gender equality in European private equity. And this event changed my career in a positive way because I used to overthink about my weakness as a mother, and I used to be less confident. 6 years ago, as the only woman in the investment team, I often felt very awkward compared to my male colleagues. So her discussion changed my mind, changed my mindset. I started recognizing my value that I can bring to the table. And I, yeah, her discussion encouraged me to apply for jobs in investment firms after my graduation. And as a person coming from a different culture and a mother of 3 kids, I can bring different perspectives.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
That it sounds like she was the role model for you in this case.
yeah, sure. Yeah, I said that I was so impressed by her commitment to the gender equality. And she was my role model that I can look at.
Going back to the founder side of your work, I wonder what your recommendation would be for female founders looking for VC funding. What mindset do you think they need to bring to the table?
A good question. I think like many surveys show that the biggest challenges for female founders are like work-life balance, confidence, and visibility. And I think all these challenges are deeply rooted in our perfectionism. And so the appropriate mindset for female founders should be self-acceptance. Like women are more likely than men to wait for the perfect moment to start something. And therefore we should start before we are ready. And we don't wait until we are perfect in business management, in legal and financial stuff to start. If we are open enough to ask for help in work-life balance and support, like mentor or professional support, then we can manage to improve these weaknesses very quickly. And if the business idea is new and not many people can understand and agree to invest in it, then don't be too upset. Of course, we need feedbacks to improve, But like we should keep in mind that in such an early stage, we need to see rejections as a part of our learning and developmental process. We should never see rejections as a personal problem. And if we do that, we stick to a problem that it is not easy to be solved.
I think this is wonderful advice that can also really be given to all females in business. I wonder, as a last point to bring this to a close, do you have any additional advice for women in business? Maybe something you would like to share from your experience, or something you wish you'd realized earlier in your career?
Well, I have one piece of advice. It is never too late to start pursuing what is important for you. My parents didn't have university degree, and my mother got admission to a college when she was pregnant. So she could not make it. And she did not like it when I got married quite early. She thought that my education and my career end with marriage and children. And she was correct to some extent. I remember seeing a cartoon on internet several years ago, and the picture showed a woman and two children. The woman looked tired and she was holding a tray on her arm, and the other tray was on the floor trying to pull her t-shirt and climbing up. And she was answering on the phone, "Can I call you back in 5 years?" And I find it funny, but it's so true. When I started thinking about the master program, my third child was 1 year old, and many people tell me that you can never make it. You can never learn a new language with, like, at the age of 30, over 30. You can never finish the master program while having 3 children, and you can never find a job in a new country. Of course, it's not easy, but because education is something that is very important for me, I decided to do it, and I finally made it. 5 years later, I moved to a new country. I learned a new language. I was among the top 15% in the MBA program, and I found the job that I like. Of course, this is a personal decision, and people preferred other options as well. But I wish that my mother had gone to college and had a better job. And I think my children like my decisions, and they like this journey. They like learning a new language. They like learning a new culture. And I think I have done the best I can for them and for me. So I want to say that being a mother in mid-20s doesn't mean that our education and our career end. If we want to have children, go for it. Don't think that we have to trade off between career and family life.
Thank you so much for sharing that. I think that's so rare to hear, such a true story of how things can work out, even though the odds seem to be against it in the beginning. It has been such a pleasure to have you here today and to hear a little bit of your story. Thank you for joining us in this series, Women in Business, here for our HHL YouTube channel. And I can't wait to see what else is in store for you and your professional journey. Thank you. And it was wonderful having you.
It was my pleasure as well. Thank you.